Devahntau Colonel here with you again, and today we have Linda as our business owner for today. Linda is actually the owner of Cheer Counseling. It is a counseling center located out over here on Brandon. It's actually really close to our last interviewee, Scott, and his comic store. So, Linda, thank you so much for making the time for this today.
Okay, I'm Linda Faulkner. This is Cheer Counseling. This is my partner in crime, Mrs. Zoe. She helps out too.
So, how did you end up deciding to start Cheer Counseling? What was your reason? What's your reason for getting into it?
Back many years ago, my kids are in their 30s now, but they were young. My husband was terminally ill.
Right.
And it was a very stressful time for me. The kids were acting out. It was stressful for them. I tried to take them to counselors. I didn't have a lot of money. And the counselors I went to didn't care very much. And they wouldn't do a family. They'd have to pick out the problem child.
In
the meantime, I have 2 problem children and a problem me and a sick husband. And I didn't have much money to be able to pay for an expensive counselor. So I thought there's got to be better services than this in the community. There just needs to be better things going on. And there wasn't very much out there. And
sorry.
So
sorry about that.
So after he passed, I knew I needed to go back to school and get a career that I had a bachelor's, and that wasn't enough to make a living on, to survive on. And so when I went back to school, I went back into counseling, and with the idea that I was going to get something very special and much better than what's out there and available in the community.
Okay.
And I found that working alone wasn't much fun. And I'm not an expert on every problem. There's some people who are really great with kids, great with adolescents. I love the couples and the older adults. And so I brought in some other counselors who had different personalities and had different skills and specialties.
Nice.
And right now we're up to, about 8. We had 10, a couple of them are leaving. So we've got 8. I'm trying to get in a nutritionist. She should be starting the beginning of April.
Nice.
And so I want to offer nutritional services. And if that goes well, I'm considering getting a massage or a chiropractor. And so it'll be cheer counseling and wellness.
I really like that you said you knew certain things really well, but you didn't know all of it in the whole realm of counseling. And so instead of spending so much time trying to fill out what you didn't know, you said, okay, I'll just hire people who can cover for the weak areas that I have or the areas I'm not as knowledgeable in, and you just stayed focused on what you were strong at and did what you were best at. So I really like that.
Yeah, and all of us do that. And anybody who says, I'm an expert and love everything, is not telling the truth. There's some areas you're going to like and be better at than other areas. And even after 20 years, you have areas that you're better at and really enjoy.
For sure.
And so I don't have to do areas I don't enjoy.
Right.
And everybody, they fill out a form and it's like, what do you like? And I say, I know you can do it all. Don't check it all. Just check the ones you want to do.
Right. Your top 2, if so.
Yeah, your top 10.
Right.
and so we try to match the people with the clients with the counselors and make sure we have a good match.
Makes sense. So let's go ahead and take it back a few years, back to little Linda, if you will.
Okay.
What was life for Linda like growing up? How was that situation?
Whoa, don't talk about that much. There were 3 girls. I was the oldest of the 3.
Oldest child.
Karen came along just a little short of 3 years after me, 2 years and 9 months. And then Judy was a surprise, and she came along 11 years later.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So,
it must have really been a surprise, huh?
And my parents were married up until my mom passed a couple of years ago. I think they were married something like 65 years.
Wow, talk about a long-lasting relationship there. That's
and
amazing.
we never could could triangulate. If I tried to talk to Dad, he'd say, Ruth, come on in the room. Or if I tried to talk to my mom in private, Joe, come on here. And even with the phone, they had the old phones and with the extension. So I could never get away with trying to get something from one without the other.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They work as a team.
To where you're like, well, Mom said I could have the cookies. Oh, really? Hey, honey, did you actually? They would actually call that. That was definitely something that me and my brothers, we did all the time with my dad and my stepmom. We would be like, hey, can we have some burritos? Yeah. We called him. He said it was all cool. Dad said it was cool. So you guys never pulled a fast one, huh?
We tried. But we couldn't get away with it.
So, kind of coming into high school, like, what were some elements that you noticed growing up that you think might have played a role in deciding to start this? Like, when growing up, were you entrepreneurial at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, definitely I was. When I was 10 years old, I learned magic, and I had a little magic show.
Huh.
And all the kids came.
Really?
And I was the kid who would have the lemonade stand.
Oh, you were the one, 25 cents ago? Or was it like 10 cents back then?
Probably.
Because 25 cents would get you what, like a whole candy bar, huh?
Oh, probably more than that. When I was in college, I did some waitressing, and 25 cents was the average tip.
Holy smokes, and that's when you were in college.
Yeah.
Wow.
That kind of ages me. My son once, he was young, and he was trying to insult me, and he said, "You're so old, you probably only had an Atari as a child."
Atari was a great system.
Yeah,
There's no shame in it at all.
Let's say I was married before we had an Atari. We had a black and white TV, though.
Oh, yeah, the classic shows and the movies, huh?
The Peacock. In living color, we'd see it in black and white with the Peacock. You're probably too young to remember that.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
That's what I figured. You gotta... They had, people had black and white TVs, and one of the television shows, I don't know if it was ABC, NBC, or CBS, there were 3 stations. One of them had this peacock, and say, in living color, and then you'd see the peacock going like this, and of course, ours was in black and white.
Hot dog. My granddad...
Ask your mother, they'll know.
Yeah,
She'll know about
he
that.
actually still had a black and white TV up till about, I think, maybe 6 years ago or so, so I've seen them. So, you were entrepreneurial as a kid, did a lemonade stand, did the magic show, and so when it came time for, I guess, your college years, how did you sort of decide how you were going to progress after that? Like, during college?
Let's see, I was president of Hillel one year, and we had a movie and a fundraiser, and it was very
Awesome.
successful the year that I did the work there.
Very
But it was an interesting story because I wanted to go into deaf education, and I had to go into speech therapy programs. So I was in the speech therapy program in the state of Wisconsin, where I was cut the program.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into speech therapy, didn't really like it, went into audiology, which I did like.
Nice.
Didn't get into my master's because even though I was a top student and a straight A student in audiology classes, the rest of my classes we don't really talk about. They didn't interest me that much, and I got B's and C's. But
I thought you failed a few, but no, B's and C's are still fine, yeah.
No, but it wasn't enough to get me into the grad school. So I got married. I had a little detour.
Okay.
I got married, I had children, I worked minimum wage jobs, what have you. My husband got sick and passed, and it was time for me to go back to school and get my master's. And I decided to get it into voc rehab, vocational rehabilitation and counseling.
Okay.
And so I'm all ready to be a voc rehab counselor and work for the state. And Jeb Bush, who was governor at the time, put a funding cut on it.
Oh.
So I couldn't get into folk rehab department.
Jeez.
And so here, I couldn't get into deaf ed, I couldn't get into audiology, I couldn't get into folk
man.
rehab. So my life never went in a straight line. It was like, it's okay.
I hear you. That's the same for me, yeah.
Because I got a job with Joni Stewart. I was there almost 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very good background with her, very strong background. I started her substance abuse program, went from no clients to 150 when I left.
Awesome.
And really developed her program and had a good time there, learned a lot. But once I got licensed, it was time for me to go off on my own.
And that's when it started. So
And that was almost 11 and a half years ago.
So 11 and a half years ago, that puts us at 2007, which means that you were only a year and a half or so off from the time of the recession hitting.
We opened the very end of November of 2006. And so the recession hit in 2007, 2008. I'm a brand new business every day. I go to the store and they're closed. Things were closing left and right. I was struggling.
How did you manage to navigate that, like opening the year before? Because obviously the thing is, everyone says you got to be in business at least 2 to 3 years, and if you can survive that, then you're pretty decent, because now you can start to get your loans that you need or what have you. You have credibility. So a year and a half in, recession hits. How did you navigate that and manage to stay afloat?
Well, at first it was day by day. It was like, I'm still open one more day. And then it got to be, I'm open one more week. And then it was, I'm open one more month. I paid my rent.
Right.
And finally it got to be, I'm open one more year. If I can make it till September, because summers tend to be a little slow, but if I can make it through the summer and I'm still open in September, I'm good for the next year. So we've gone from day to week to month to year.
Wow.
And it's never gotten easy. It has not been easy. And, I thought, business owners, they make a lot of money, right? It's going to be a great thing.
Right.
I made more money working for somebody else than I do here. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that I love what I'm doing, and I don't have somebody telling me what I can and can't do. If I want to have a party, I can have a party. Last week we had an Easter party.
Oh, you still got the
That's
character to show for it.
The decorations are all here. Because I wanted to have a party, and we had about 25 people. We had about 15 adults and 10 children come, and it was a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. So you managed to just one by 1 year. So what were some of the, I guess, the tactics that you used? Because a lot of the people that are likely going to watch is probably a couple business owners, maybe newer business owners, but also peers of mine. And the thing about like people like myself and my peers is we've never actually lived through a recession. So to know how to be able to function in one, like what were some of the tactics that you used in order to keep it going?
Okay, what I do, one, I read a lot. I read a lot of business books. I read every day. I have a staircase. I still do. It's a mental staircase in my mind. Sometimes I put it on paper. But this is where I want to go. This is where I am today. How do I get there? Well, I can't do it in one step. I can't jump 10 flights of stairs. I can't even jump 1 flight of stairs.
Right.
But I can take one step at a time, and I can do it that way. And so I have on my staircase, this is where I'm going, and this is the steps that I have to take. Right now I'm planning to open a nonprofit. So my nonprofit is going to be called Wings, Wellness in Nature Gardens.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have a lot of different wellness services in the garden. But what do I have to do that? Well, one, I have to get a nonprofit. So I have to buy some books. So here I am reading. I need bylaws. So I got bylaws. I've written them. Now I need some people to review them for me. So that's my list of getting people on the board. I'm going to be on the board of a nonprofit.
Ooh, that would be new.
Just let me know. We'll talk about this after.
Yeah, for sure.
So we do need to get people on the board. So then I need to review the nonprofit. Then I got to go back to my book and see what the next step is. But there's a step of what At one point, I am going to buy some land. I've already talked to some real estate people just to get an idea of what it's going to cost, so that when I apply for grants, I can say this is how much money I need for land, this is how much I need for building. So I'm looking into different what it's going to cost, not to purchase it right now. I'm going to grant writing groups. I'm learning what I need to learn, and I have a list of what has to be done on my stairs.
Nice.
On my stair step to get to where I'm going, and that's how I live my life. I always have this plan. I always have a step of where am I going next. If I say, "Want to come over to my house for pizza tonight," you're going to have to say what time, where do you live,
Right.
you know. You're going to have to, how are you going to get there? Is your car running, or are you going to take an Uber or what? So you're going to have to make a plan if you're going to make it over to my house.
Absolutely. Okay,
So we always make plans all the time. We're just not consciously doing it.
Right, and a lot of people probably aren't doing it in especially the manner you said, as far as actually having the book and writing it out. I know that's something actually that my mom does a lot. Like, I always saw her growing up. She was always, maybe once a week, she would take out a notebook and just go over the same thing. I'm like, "Mom, why do you keep writing these notes? Things haven't changed since last week." She's like, "Oh, things have changed since last week. Trust me, they've changed." And I never understood it as a kid, but as I've sort of ventured into this entrepreneurial world myself, I've seen, oh yeah, like, things do change every week. You never know the meeting you'll have, the networkings you'll do, all these different factors that'll come up. And so, and that is something that I've read from a lot of people is write it down, but also write it down in the actual sequence and the flow that you want it to occur in. So
You have to.
your book, and then as far as growing kind of your clientele, how have you found that to be? What's been sort of your process with that?
We're on a lot of insurance panels, and they send us people. That has been a challenge because they're paying me now less than they did 10 years ago. Under Obamacare, it went up quite a bit, and we were doing quite well. It was comfortable. And now it's even though the Affordable Health Care Act is still there, they're not enforcing. The insurance companies paying us and they've dropped their rates.
Right.
By about a third. Some of the companies I've had to drop because they dropped their rates so low that it was virtually not paying me.
So what's been sort of the way that you've circumnavigated that? Because I know the last business owner, he was telling me, oh, well, as things changed, he started doing this thing where he did, like, every Wednesday would be like new something, or every once a year he would do XYZ thing for free. What's been sort of your method of adapting?
Well, I do have a newsletter. I've got about 4,000 names on it that I send out. I have parties once in a while. I've had the Easter party. I'm planning and thinking about when the next one's going to be.
Okay.
I usually do a lot of marketing material, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google. Google.
Yes.
I do some Google. I'm not real happy with the last few marketing. I've got to get on the phone with them.
Right.
Talk to them and see what we can do to improve that marketing. So I'm always, who can I advertise with? What free advertising can I get?
Right.
Versus how much do I have to pay? Can I afford it?
Right.
I know you were in here yesterday, and someone wanted to put me in their newsletter for $1,200 a year, and I said that was not going to be. I know from experience that wasn't going to get me anything. It was going to get them my money, and that was about it. So, through experience, trial and error, I know what type of advertising works for us and what is just expensive.
And for you, it's not a matter of, oh, well, I just like this thing, or I believe this. You actually give things a chance. You give them the benefit of the doubt. Give it a month or two, a few months, and then you say, okay, well, based on what we've seen, this isn't working as much as I like, or there's not as much to show for it as what meets my KPIs. So this is, which is really awesome. A lot of business owners that I've met, they're just like, oh, that's not something that works for me, or oh, I've been in business for X amount of years. I don't need it. I'm so established. I don't need it. But you're actually willing to venture into the newer realms of things.
Well, you always got to try it, but sometimes I've tried newspapers before, and not this specific one, but I've tried others, and I know they're not a good source, a good use of my money. I know the internet is a better use, and I'm always working with people on my website to try to improve it. It has some bugs from the last person who didn't do a good job. So I've got somebody new I just hired yesterday who's going to be coming in and working with me on the website to get it up and running and marketed more and more SEOs, whatever that means.
Good. Yeah. So I think this has been super good for people. Is there anything to, people my age or other business owners out there, any point that you really want to push towards them that has been something that you've just been trying to push, like something you're obsessed with?
The two things I push is your feelings are under your control. If you feel depressed, you're choosing to feel depressed. If you feel anxious, you're choosing to feel anxious. You don't need medication for it for the most part. Sometimes people may for a short term, but you shouldn't be on these antidepressants for years and years, or anxieties. Get the help you need so that you don't need a drug to help you. Certainly, if you walk to the mailbox and you see a letter that says you just won the lottery, you're going to feel great that day. If you get a letter from the IRS saying we're putting you in jail because you owe so much money, you're going to have a really miserable day.
Right.
But a letter in the mailbox isn't a biological thing. It's not a chemical imbalance. So your doctor will tell you you have a chemical imbalance. How does that letter in the mailbox give you a chemical imbalance? People learn how they're feeling. They choose how they want to feel. And they're more in control of it than they know they are. And so you can get help with that. And then the second thing is set goals. Know where you're going and go there.
Yeah. A lot of, I know it's how people react to things. Like somebody might see the thing of, oh, I'm getting something to go to jail. And they're like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. And they're just, now they let a bunch of things around them enter their mind in addition to that. And their perspective is set on looking at all the bad thing as opposed to saying, okay, well, what is it? What is the reason that I'm doing it? Instead of thinking of how do I fix it, they go to, oh, I'm already defeated. And so it's very much so a perspective thing, huh?
Oh yeah, and you can feel good if you don't let negative things, don't give them free rent in your head. You'll feel good.
Yeah.
And you have the option to feel good if you're feeling miserable and depressed. A pill might be like a Band-Aid, but go see a counselor. I'm here. We can make you better.
Yeah, right here, guys. So, so this is something that...
No, we can't, let me rephrase that. We can't make you better. We can teach you how to make yourself better.
Some practices to engage in on a daily to steadily increase the bottom line of a person's psyche.
Or change your thought process.
Yeah. So, and now this is something that my last interview, Scott, wanted to ask, and I'll give you the same opportunity as well. I had him give me a question that he wanted to have answered by you. So, to Scott, his question was, Linda, how do you go about the process of breaking the negative cycle that a person experiences both in their life and or in their mind?
Okay, it's in your mind, and this is actually a fun thing I do with this. If you keep thinking the same thing over and over...
Scott, make sure you're listening, brother.
Okay, if you keep thinking the same thing over and over, your mind is like a pathway, and your brain is just, the line is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, like walking on grass. The more you grass, you're going to develop that path. So also your brain doesn't know not. For example, I want you to not think about zebras. All right, you're not thinking about zebras. Do not think about zebras. No zebras, right? No purple zebras, no spotted zebras, no black and white or green and purple or yellow zebras. No zebra. You're not thinking about zebras, right? You're no zebras.
I'm thinking only about zebras now.
All right, stop thinking about zebras. You see how it's not very effective.
Right.
So the word "not" doesn't work. But let's change the topic. I'd like to talk about giraffes because they're really awesome. Because people think they have long necks and they really have short necks. You look at a horse; it can bend its neck right over and get a drink of water. Giraffes have to sprawl their legs out, and they really have a hard time getting down to the ground because their necks, in relationship to their legs, are really, really short.
Yeah.
And we never think about giraffes. What just happened with the zebras? You forgot it, right?
Yeah. It was like now I'm mentally picturing like a giraffe's neck in relation to its legs and like how they
So that's what you do. You don't think about what you don't want to think about. You change your thought, your self-talk about what you do want.
Okay.
I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. That's not going to work. I want to succeed. Well, and you have to be specific. Very specific.
Right. How specific would you say? Like, would you say you have to, like, I want to be would it be I want to be successful overall? I want to be successful this month.
I'll give you an answer to that. Somebody will come in and I'll say, "What is your goal?" They say, "I want to be happy." I said, "What does that mean to you? What is? How can we measure it? How are we going to know when you're happy?" I will be happy when I have $10 in the bank. Then we know where our goal is. Versus I will be happy when everybody loves me is not a realistic goal. It's not measurable.
Right.
And we have to have a number to it. We have to have a time and a measurement. I want to have $10 in the bank by next Friday. Now we have a time frame, we have a measurement, and we know exactly what it is that you want to do.
So a what, a when, and
then you work on the how.
And work on the how. Okay. Awesome, I like that. So there you go, Scott, straight from the doc's mouth herself.
All right.